his application. And I think given a more stable system, a player of his quality should be able to show us why he was that valuable.
Yeah.
I can't see any reason why he can't. I mean, if he doesn't get this chance, then this will be the third manager in a row that he hasn't worked under, and then you have to start questioning the player's actual ability. But I don't think we're at that point yet because we've not seen enough of him.
No, I think that's true. And maybe the same could be said for Lo Celso. I don't know what you think, Sarah, what your views are.
I think Ndombele had his best game in a Tottenham shirt against Newcastle before the international break previously.
He did play well. Yeah.
Thought he played really well. I thought he looked like he was trying pretty hard and he looked fairly fit. He was up and down. And I think that's the step in the right direction. He can be good if he wants to be good. But it's just whether he's going to go down the route of some of those footballers that show all that promise and never follow through, or whether he's going to pull his socks up and have a career. Lo Celso, I like Lo Celso, but it just doesn't seem to have happened for him. But I think he gets moved around so much that I don't know that
he does,
that
actually
helps.
Yeah.
So it's
He's
like
good
whenever
at
there's a
corners.
gap, he goes in. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what to make of him because I like him. I think, again, he's got a good work ethic and he works hard and he wins the ball back. But can you improve on him? Yes, you can.
Yeah, he's incredibly left-footed, isn't he? He's one of these players that, a bit like Lamella,
he's a
won't use
downgrade
his
on
right
Lamella,
foot.
in my opinion, which would probably be unpopular.
I think he is a
I
little
really
bit, yeah.
liked Lamella.
Yeah, I did.
But,
yeah. We love these cult figures, don't we? But
Andy, all these members of the backroom team that we brought in with Conte, surely we should have brought someone in to help with corners because it's been a problem since Eriksen and Lo Celso's ones of absolute dog.
Well, this is the amazing thing about Eriksen, isn't it? And he was a wonderful player for us, but whenever he got a free kick, they'd always say, "Look, this is Eriksen territory," and invariably never got it anywhere near the goal.
But Andy, all our set pieces for years have been fucking awful.
They have
been absolutely dreadful. Every time. I mean, it's like corner. All right, we're not going to make anything of this. Oh, free kick. No. How Kane's going to... Okay.
Well, God.
One.
Harry Kane.
I mean, even that famous one that he scored at Villa was actually destined for a throw-in before it was somebody's ass.
Exactly.
Who works on the set pieces with these guys? Because they are awful. Yeah.
Maybe that's definitely what Hitchens does.
Yeah, that's his job.
Do you think that football needs to evolve to have these inverted commas specialist coaches like other sports do have? Because it is clearly it's clearly something that if you look back in the day, and you see Ronaldo top bins, Beckham top bins, Roberto Carlos top bins. Like, name me 3 players on this current day and age. And yes, the balls are very different, and I don't think that helps. But name me 3 set piece takers that you could even put into that breath.
Ward Prowse.
Really?
Yeah, he's probably the best one out there.
Yeah, he is, but he's not in there. He's not in their bracket.
I think he is actually. I think he's up there with his stats. Yeah,
get him in.
Yeah, well, that's all we can do. That's the problem,
It's a really big dying skill, I think, in football in general.
I agree.
To deliver like that.
I mean, go on, Lee. Carry on.
I want to say, Steve. I think Stevie Wonder is our set piece coach.
Yeah.
I think the thing you sort of mentioned Beckham there, and the thing that strikes me about that example is that he was famously spent his entire career working on those on his own after training, which probably suggests that if this is an element that's lacking in coaching, that it's only the players that identify it and then rectify that their own that actually see something of it. And I wonder if there's some sort of similarity there with the young Harry Kane, who used to practice finishing on his own, and that's what turned him into the clinical finisher that he became early in his career. And actually, maybe it's just something that, I don't know, with all these double running sessions they're going to be doing now, maybe they won't just have any energy to do any of this stuff afterwards. But, I wonder if it is just an individual thing that some players think, right, well, I'm going to have to put an extra 10 hours a week into this, and maybe nobody is anymore.
Possibly they play too much football to add that into their fatigue as well.
The thing is, though,
potentially.
It's such a short career. Why not do it? It's
why not do it as a teenager when you've got the most time?
Well, that's very true. Yeah.
On that coaching, that backroom staff, what a lovely idea to bring Ryan Mason in.
Yeah.
I like it a lot.
Yeah.
I mean, that was such a great move. And did you see the video today that came out where he said, once, because that was the game that he got injured when he was playing against Chelsea, wasn't it? I think. And when he was, Conte went to see his family, and it just seemed like such a poignant move to bring him into that setup after everything. It's kind of a redemptive moment, but also it just felt. It felt like a really good move from the club to do that.
Yeah.
I hope Ryan Mason, not only takes the most of this, but also goes on to have a great career as a manager. He seems like he's got the right credentials.
He's a really good pundit as well, actually.
Yeah.
I've got to say, he was one of my favourite players of the Pochettino era. I was absolutely heartbroken when we sold him. I really was.
Yeah.
Because you sort of follow him all the way through that youth, and he was always beset with injury and everything went against him, and you could see that when he broke into the first team. I often joke that, we could solve all of our problems by bringing that Mason and Benta left pivot back. But, in all seriousness, that was a...
It was a decent midfield.
It was a decent midfield, and I felt really bad for him. And of course, he suffered that last injury. I think it was against Sunderland, was it, or Middlesbrough? Or somebody scored the goal and got injured scoring it, and that was it. I thought it was such a terrible way for his Spurs career to end. That I agree with Lee. I think it's lovely that he's back.
Yeah, it's a really nice touch, and I think Pochettino wanted to keep him, didn't he? But
he wanted to go, didn't he? Because he knew he wasn't going to get enough football.
Yeah, exactly. Which you've got to say is, as a footballer, is the right decision, because you've got to keep your career going. But
and it was a brave move to go to hell. I mean,
it probably is hell. Yeah, that's very true. Yeah. So I had a bit of an off Spurs topic to bring up, which is something that's kind of bugging me a little bit at the moment, and I think it's bugging quite a few people. And that is obviously the World Cup in Qatar for various reasons, namely, more importantly, human rights issues. But I saw a tweet yesterday from Henry Winter, who said that once the England team qualify, that apparently the players are going to sit down and discuss what the action should be, if any, to take about the human rights issues in Qatar. And I found this very interesting, because I thought, well, what are they going to do? Are they going to qualify and then say, sorry, we're not going to go? Or are they just kind of following suit with the Dutch and German players, because apparently they wore T-shirts with human rights on? And, it's a good stand to have, but is this all lip service, or is it something that does actually make a difference? I don't know what you guys think about all this, but I think it's quite an important issue, really.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I had a dose of Qatar earlier in the year, and had some good cough medicine and sorted it out. Seriously, I think there are a number of really important issues around this, especially with all the people that have been dying making these stadia.
6,500 people have died.
I mean, it's absolutely disgusting. But to be honest, it says equally as much about FIFA as it does about the Qatari regime,
of course,
because they're allowing it to happen. And this whole thing is just all awash with dirty money. And that's nothing, that's not just saying it because, it's an easy target to say that. I mean, this just didn't smell right from the start. So it is probably lip service. I can't see them do anything, about it in the end, because they all want to win a trophy, and they probably think that they are close to it, and maybe they are, because that was the projected thing, wasn't it, by the FA to win this World Cup. So probably nothing will happen, but it ought to in some way or other, because this, the whole thing is rotten from head to tail.
Yeah, it certainly is. Yeah. What are your thoughts, Sarah?
No, I just think it was a corrupt decision to take it there in the first place. If they really gave a poop, they'd have gone, nah, you can have it in the next. You can have it on the next cycle if you clean up your act and change your human rights laws or whatever else. That would have been the correct thing to do at the time. I don't know what the right decision is now, because I don't think you can pull the World Cup because 6,500 people have died making the stadiums. Like, not that it sort of, I don't know. It just feels like if I was somebody whose family had died doing that, and then suddenly the World Cup was scrapped after they died, you almost sit back and go, well, they died for nothing now. So they're kind of in that position as well. What the players can do, I don't think they can do anything, because, as much as taking the knee is nice and everything that they've done for kicking racism out of football, it creates a conversation, but I don't think it is enough to change things as quickly as they need changing. So I don't know. Do they just not turn up for their first game, or do they turn up late, or, what can they actually physically do to cost FIFA money to make sure that this doesn't happen again? And that's got to be the question they ask themselves, which also doesn't really, affect their moments in their careers. So let's face it, if you're 25 years old, you've probably spent 20 years trying to achieve. If you're 18 years old, you've probably spent the last 10 years of your life trying to do it. So it's really tough. I don't know what I would do in that situation. I ask myself, I'm unhappy. Yeah, I don't like it, but am I going to turn down my dream?
Yeah.
Because that's what people are asking the players to do. And I don't know that. I don't know, because there'll always be. I just don't know what you can do.
I agree. I don't think it's an easy situation. It's all right for me to sit here and think about not watching it on TV, but it's a bit different.
That's probably the biggest thing that will make a difference. Is if people just didn't tune in, but people are not going to tune in.
No, of course, people, and everybody's got their own viewpoint on it. So
I could probably not tune in until England made it to the final, and then they'd be like, "I have to watch it. I can't not watch it."
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, the fickle hypocrisy in me is going to. Yeah.
Like the Euros, wasn't there? There was that MP who was like, I'm not watching. And they made the final when he watched it, didn't he? So, because of the taking the knee. But I don't know. It's a very serious issue, and we are laughing. But I think the chance to make change was before we awarded it.
Let's face it, a majority of fans, unfortunately and sadly, have become quite apathetic to most political situations if it suits them. It's the same with the thing of the Newcastle takeover. All the morals are thrown out the window if it means that their club are going to, possibly win trophies. And it will be the same for this. If it looks like we might win something, people won't give a toss. But it's sad, really, because there should be a higher purpose here. But, there won't be.
No. What about you, Rich? What are your thoughts?
Well, I mean, I don't want to sort of parrot everything that's already been said, but I agree with all of it. I also think it's a disgusting position, really, that the players are being put in a position where they have to make this decision, because it was the FA's job and UEFA's job as, the regional organisations to take responsibility for this sort of thing.
Yeah.
And I know, we might look at previous sporting boycotts and say that there is precedent in the Olympics and in cricket and in various other things. But to a lesser or greater extent, all of those examples are from a time where players or teams were not quite so commercially leveraged as they are now.
That's the key thing, isn't it?
And so what are the penalties that the players will face
Yeah.
from not only governing bodies but from the people who